Hi, this is Art Pizarro, and I'm going to be doing a quick SEO audit of Mr. Cooper and its online properties. So as I start here at the website, the one thing that jumps out at me is how clean and organized it looks. We're changing the face of home loans. It's a decent declaration statement. And then here the proof signals of top 20 home lender. All these things look pretty good. Easy to contact, right? Phone numbers there. So all of that is very good. And the menu on the left, also very simple to understand, along with what's your goal. Okay. So landing on the page, everything is very intuitive, and that's a good thing. As I scroll down a little bit, the first thing that I would want to see here is case studies or testimonials, something to the effect that shows me why I should stay, not right away being sent to the blog. Okay, so I would take this section and I would put it further down the page. Maybe even Refinance Your Home and Home Buying 101 should be above the testimonials. Okay, and then as you go down further, you might see we see home loans differently, ask this person, then the blog. Okay, and then the app. So the first thing that I would do is move this blog down, because it's taking away these tools and capabilities that they can have from this website, and it's putting them in a lower tier than blog articles. Moving on from how the website looks and how the website works, the next thing you want to know is how fast does the website load for your users? Because if the website takes a long time, people aren't even going to see the website. They're just going to leave. So Google likes for a load time to be ideally under 2 seconds. And according to this testing, the page is currently loading at about 3 seconds. So it's about 50% faster than most websites, and it gets a performance grade of 78%. Here are the areas where it fails in terms of browser caching, combining JavaScript, and minimizing redirects. Okay, all things that can be fixed, and that score can be increased. The page size of the website isn't too bad. It can definitely be loaded faster with some tweaking. The next thing I look for is to see if the page is mobile friendly, because these are things that are very important to Google, and if you want your pages to rank, you have to satisfy what they require. So the page being mobile friendly is great. Now, once I do a regular Google search for Mr. Cooper, the way that Mr. Cooper appears with all of the additional links is awesome. That's really great. And when you come and you look at the local listings, also very good with pretty decent scores. The call to action in terms of the meta description is pretty good. It makes things very clear. And then when we come down here, though, this is very disturbing to see that there is only a 1-star rating with 94 people leaving reviews. Now, when I come to the Yelp page and I take a look at some of these negative reviews, it is good to see that the customer service team has left answers with phone numbers and times when they can be reached. That's actually really good, right? Now, one of the ways that you can further address this issue is by getting satisfied customers to come and leave positive responses, right? And it'll take a while. It'll take a good number of positive reviews to bring this up. But you definitely want to do that, because when people find you on Google and they see a 1-star review out of so many reviews, they're going to want to go and look somewhere else for business, right? So this directly equates to lost revenue, and it needs to be addressed to be fixed, okay? Now, this tool gives us an idea of how much traffic the website receives, both in organic and in paid search. It also lets us know what some of the keywords that you're ranking number 1 for are and how much traffic volume they bring. All of these numbers should be taken with a grain of salt, but they are good guidelines to have an idea as to how the website is performing. Another thing that we want to look at is the anchor text and how the website is being listed in its backlinks. So as you can see here, Mr. Cooper, Mr. Cooper, Mr. Cooper, we want to try and diversify this more, because if it's continually just Mr. Cooper and its variations, then that starts to look unnatural. So you want to have other terms related to keywords that are important to the brand also show up as anchor text. Okay, so that's another thing that can be looked at. And then finally, we come to this page where we can take a look at some of the organic search positions that have the highest amount of traffic volume. And so as you can see here, long tail keywords like mortgage payment calculator are going to be easier to rank for. In this case, Mr. Cooper's ranked number 49, and they receive about 368,000 views for that search term each month. Something like calculator or mortgage is obviously going to be more competitive and a lot harder to rank for. For the word mortgage, currently at number 36. So that's basically the middle of the third page in Google, which no one searches for, right? Everyone is dealing with what's in the top 10. So you want to try and have all of your important keywords, or all of your keywords for that matter, within the top 10 on the first page of Google, basically. Okay, so these are things that you can go after to try and rank better for them and garner that traffic. So for instance, if you're on the top 10 of mortgage calculator, you're going to be receiving a good piece of this 2 million people who search that term each month. Now, this tool shows us how much engagement the content being created about the brand Mr. Cooper is receiving. So for instance, the About page on Mr. Cooper has received about 4,600 Facebook engagements, right? Whereas a Dallas News article talking about Mr. Cooper being acquired by WAMU received 669 LinkedIn shares. Now, these are all good things. If you're getting a couple of hundred LinkedIn shares, a couple of thousand Facebook engagements, that's great. The only issue that I see here is that all of the content that is being found is all about the rebranding. So some of this content should be about the things that are actually important to your users, things that they would be asking, questions that they are interested in. How do I get a loan from Mr. Cooper? How do I apply? Things like that, right? Has my mortgage been switched over from one lender to another, right? All the issues that are continually being asked to the customer service team. Those are the types of articles that you want to be found and to be engaged with. You want people to understand that the brand cares about their needs and is putting out content and making sure that content gets in front of them that answers their questions. Okay? Because ultimately, it's very good that the brand gets this attention and that people realize there has been a rebranding and all this kind of thing. But more importantly, people care about what's important to them, right? That a company has changed its name is not as important as how do I go about setting up my mobile app so I can make my payments each month, okay? And so getting some of those types of articles to get this type of engagement is really important and something to be worked on. Now, when we come to YouTube, which is very important because it is the second largest search engine in the world, we get the term Mr. Cooper giving us videos about the show Mr. Cooper. And that's fine because the very first result only has about 200,000 views, and that can be overcome. So you want to have it so that the brand videos are at the very top when people look for the term Mr. Cooper, okay? We shouldn't be competing and being beat by a TV show that's 20 years old. So when you're looking at the Mr. Cooper brand, the number of subscribers is important because it's social proof. A company like Mr. Cooper that's that large and has the resources shouldn't have just 120 subscribers. Shouldn't have just 24 videos, right? And as you can see here, when you go into the videos, one of the things that's very important is that there is no link when I immediately look at the description, okay? Now, I do know that there is a link there, okay? But that learn more should be at the very top with a call to action because that's requiring them to be invested to click on show more. One of the things that we are constantly being bombarded with nowadays is information. And so time is a huge and valuable resource to us, right? People don't even unsubscribe from emails anymore, email newsletters, because it takes too much time than just simply clicking delete. So one of the things that we want to do is take that link and put it right at the top. That way, when people watch this video, these thousands of people, how many of those 4,800 people actually clicked on show more? In comparison to having that link right there at the top and then them being more incentivized because it's easier to simply click on that link, right? Another issue is that YouTube is a social platform. That means it's a place for conversation. It's a place where people can leave a comment, ask a question, and someone from the customer service team or the web team, whatever the case may be, can come back and give them a good response. Now, I understand that the commercial is kind of like the flagship video for this campaign, but disabling comments on a video on YouTube, that's a bad thing. It can be set up so that people cannot leave their comment without it being approved, right? Because of course you'll have people and trolls that will want to say bad things because they've been dissatisfied or had a bad experience, but you can control that as opposed to disabling comments. It's, in my opinion, it's a very bad idea. And finally, YouTube and Facebook and all of the other social platforms that allow for live streaming are a huge resource, right? Because they allow you to talk to your customers on a regular basis. The whole idea of the rebranding of Nation Star to Mr. Cooper was that they wanted to be more personable. You wanted to be more connected, easier to work with, easier to deal with, right? So kind of like talking to your neighbors. And so having live stream capability for the brand makes that more possible. It builds trust. It builds relationships, right? As opposed to a video that was launched a couple of months ago and then kind of everyone went away and forgot about it. If you have continual live streams where you're doing Q&As, you're answering things, you're giving testimonials, you're having satisfied customers come in and explain what their experience has been like and how they've worked with the company and had positive outcomes, those are the types of things that go viral because people share stories, right? And so if you have good stories to share, people will continually tune in. Frequency and live streams are huge when it comes to a social presence. You want to create content on a regular basis so that people kind of get programmed into the thought of, okay, it's Wednesday at 11 a.m. I know that Mr. Cooper is going to do a live stream now. They don't even necessarily need the messaging that tells them, hey, don't miss the live stream. Because after a while they know, right? And they're coming back because initially they might come because they want to know about the questions that they need answered. But eventually they're going to come because they just want to see the person that usually presents the live stream. They will grow attached to the individuals who are on the live stream and they will become fans. Okay. And so what will end up happening is that whenever we're a fan of something, we tell our friends about it. And so although we may already have a mortgage with Mr. Cooper, we might have a friend who's looking to purchase a home, and then we become a brand ambassador automatically because we've been watching these live streams now for a couple of months. So the first person we think of when we think of a mortgage is Mr. Cooper. Okay. Same thing goes for Facebook. When I come and I look at the Facebook page, I see that there is effort being made, right? There was a post done just 4 hours ago. What I ask myself is, how do these posts help me to figure out how to get a mortgage, right? We're talking about clutter-free homes. We're talking about essential apps for homeowners. But what if I want to become a homeowner, okay? This mortgage auto pay enrollment, that's great for someone who already owns the mortgage. But what about people who are interested in it, right? What about the newest segment that is going to be the largest segment of homeowners in the next couple of years, the millennials, who may not know what they need to do, right? What about the people who do own the mortgage and have a bunch of questions and they're not necessarily really inclined to call customer service? Like they don't want to get on the phone, but they'll go and they'll check the Facebook page because they're already on Facebook. Wouldn't it be cool if they came to the top of the page, saw a pinned post that says, check out our frequently asked questions video series. If you have a question about how to do things at Mr. Cooper, we have a video that answers that question for you. And then they can come here, they can click in, it'll take them to a page on the website, and they can find a ton of videos that answer their questions, right? Then you can take those videos and you can repurpose them into text, into audio, into images, right? And people could actually find this information on their podcast service. So they might be on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever the case may be, and they might say something to the effect of, mortgage information or mortgage loan or whatever, and your podcast pops up with all of these episodes, some of them Q&A episodes, some of them part of your video series that you answer a bunch of common questions. And now you have customer service agents that work 24 hours a day that you never have to pay. You're looking at providing real value because you find out what are the top 20 questions that our customer service team is continually asked on all mediums. And then you make a video for each one of those questions. This is going to bring in new business and save money from the customer service team. So how many man hours will be saved by people getting their question answered automatically? So that is the value of creating a video series like that answers those questions. Finally, to wrap this up, because I know I've spent a lot of time and I've tried to go quickly, so I apologize for that. Mr. Cooper Mobile. Okay, so we can see here that it has a 3-star rating, 119 reviews. And in the beginning, a lot of people were unhappy with it and they weren't being responded to. I can see that later on, someone was assigned to go ahead and start answering back. But I feel like each and every one of these people should receive an answer, right? This is a social world we live in. It's the information age. And everyone here ties in a response or lack thereof as a real interaction, okay? When we receive likes on any of our social platforms, there are chemical processes that take place in our brains that make us feel good, which is why people get addicted to the platforms. And in that same regard, if I leave a 1 star and say, hey, this was no good, and no one responds to me, well, then that's the impression that I'm going to keep about that company forever. And when people ask, I'm going to tell that to my friends, right? A happy customer tells 2 people, an angry customer tells 6. So even in regards to how you run the mobile app, customer service should be a number 1. And I know that that is part of the goal for the entire rebranding and the way of trying to do things differently, right? So that's something also that I thought would be of value to mention. So I hope that this has been of value. I hope that, I had some good insight that will help the brand continue to grow and do better. And if you have any questions, I'm easy to reach. You can just reach out to me at arcpizarro@icloud.com, or my phone is 817-997-4663. Thanks for watching. Take care.